Hi there, I'm Dr. Wyatt again, and I'm a general dentist that's done nothing but orthodontics for the last close to 45 years and did a lot of orthodontics even before that when I did both general dentistry and pedodontics and orthodontics. Uh, anyway, I'm going to talk to you this morning something about temporomandibular joints problems and orthodontics. The orthodontists have put out a lot of literature in the past, I don't know, saying that orthodontics had absolutely nothing to do with TMJ problems. I think they had some other motive in actually believing that. Uh, Orthodontics has a lot to do with TMJ, or temporal mandibular joint. We call it TMD, or temporal mandibular disorders. It has a weight of a lot to do with it. So does general dentistry, so does crowded bridge, so does almost any aspect of dentistry uh, has some effect on the temporal mandibular joint. Now, I've got about 4 different examples of it that I'm going to talk about, but there's a lot more than that. Uh, this one that we'll talk about today is uh, if you've got a deep bite case that's crowded, you do not want to start unraveling or unwinding the lower anterior teeth until you get the bite opening up, and you let the opening of the bite precede the straightening out of the lower anterior teeth. It doesn't matter if both of them go at the same time, but you don't want to start straightening up the lower anterior teeth, and a lot of people do when the bite is deep. And all you do, you crowd these lower anterior teeth into the upper anterior teeth, and they hit on a steep angle in there. And when you start straightening them up, they run into the upper teeth real early, and you can't get your teeth all the way together unless you really press down on this, and the teeth get sore. I've had people that they'd get sore, and so they wouldn't bring their jaw forward at all and hold it back as far as they could. And this distal driving or pushing the mandible distal uh, interferes with the retrodiscal tissue at the back of the condyle there. That's where the synovial fluid is made. That's where they have all the blood vessels and arteries and lymph, and the whole ball game goes on back there where it makes synovial fluid in this area. And that's what cleanses and feeds the joint. It's a real process. You can have a whole book on the subject, but orthodontics can cause it to happen. That's one of them, that people start uncrowding lower anterior teeth in a deep bite case, and they just start undoing the teeth down here, and this causes them to push into the back of the upper teeth. So anyway, I've had that happen, and this happened to me in this case, so this is not something that you pay a lot of attention to. I got to where I just said, man, always let the opening of the bite precede the unraveling or straightening out of the lower anterior teeth. Okay, I'm going to hush up on that part of it, and let's go on to and show you this case. It's a rather short case. Anyway, here is the lady. This is back, the photographs weren't too good back then, but this lady comes in. She's got a TMJ problem, or you want to call it a She has TMD, or temporal mandibular disorder, and her jaw is bothering her. And so we figure out what is giving the trouble here. Uh, I, I want to take that back to start with, because she came in, she really didn't have, she wanted her teeth straightened out. And I jumped in and started straightening out her teeth down here on the bottom. And I didn't get the bite open properly. And she started coming down with this TMJ problem. Well, I had to really think this was what was causing this. So you see, it's a pretty class 1, doesn't like much being class 1, and it's got a deep bite. And if you ever have a deep bite and it's class 1, really solid, you nearly always are going to have crowding of the lower anterior. You just can't have teeth that fit together and then deepen the bite and still keep the class 1, and it'll be really crowded up. Now, here's a picture just looking straight up in the mouth. You know, this is looking straight up, and I shot this picture. You can see where these lower anterior teeth are fitting in here, fitting up in there, and over here, and they're up there close to the gingival tissue in this case. Now you go in here and start straightening these up before you start straightening out the upper and then opening the bite in addition, and you're going to force this into that, and that's going to make these sore, this sore, the biting is uncomfortable, and it will push the mandible back. And if you got a weak TMJ, it will come down with pain doing that, and that, by George, is caused by orthodontics, or somebody doing orthodontics in a stupid, doggone way. And I don't know how they can write their article saying that it has nothing to do with the TMJ. It darn sure does. And okay, so when we went in there and overcame that problem, see, this is the bite is way down here, the upper, lower anterior teeth are up underneath here. Now if you open the bite and start expanding it, both of them, you let the opening and the expansion of the case go ahead of straightening out the lower anterior. It doesn't matter if you do them both at the same time, if you just don't run the lower into the upper when you're going like that. Okay, now you can see these upper, just to straighten them out, it's going to move you forward some, and then we're going to start intruding that also, and there'll be plenty of room in there for the teeth when you get through. Alright, you see the lower anterior. This is close to class 1, and the bite is deepened, so this is crowded as all get out in here. You don't have to take out any teeth. You just open the bite up and start straightening the upper out and get them out of the way, and then you can go ahead and start working on the lower. You don't have to wait till you get it completely done to start straightening this part out down here. So, alright, here she is. We use these little plastic brackets to do that, and we've got the teeth straight, or pretty well straight there, and we'll start picking up on them at the same time, just slightly. It's not a bad deep bite case. Now here on the bottom we use a little intruding wire over the top, and we're pushing this down, and we're expanding this, and we're opening the bite. When we get the bite open, well, we can go ahead, the temporal mandibular joint problem stopped just as soon as we got the thing open a little bit and didn't have these teeth banging into the backs of the upper anterior teeth. And now you see we got them lined up pretty good. This is not a real good picture right there, but we're intruding this, and we'll go on through the rest of it. It's just a routine orthodontics. It's 1983. Now we're back where we've got a good class 1 relationship, and this is pretty well straightened out here on the bottom. Not ideal yet. Here we continue with the case, and it's opened up now. You had your upper anterior were down here somewhere, so we went down with these and up with these, and we got this little bit of curvature and have a little bit of curvature in that. And now the upper looking pretty good. We've got it lined up, not perfect, but it's looking pretty good right in there. And the lower is still crowded, but we've opening this up, and so you got some space open back in here. You see we put an intruding wire right over here, which is really forcing this down, and that forces this tooth back. It's getting the force from here, you see, and you got a little space opening in there. You didn't have that space before. Now we'll bring these teeth back into that, and we'll have plenty of room to line those lower anterior teeth up, and the jaw joint problem is solved. I mean, that's the reason for it. But if you don't know what caused it, you just think, well, my goodness, maybe they just got bad joints. It's not bad joints, it's bad orthodontics. And that I was the one doing it, so I realized. Here, now that's the intruding wires pushing down on those lower anterior teeth. And you can see it real plain here, where the intruding wire be way down here. We brought it up and hooked it to this, and that's pushing down on this. And then that'll give us room to finish lining that up right there. Excuse me, that's the wrong number there. Alright, that's the intruding wires leveling the bottom out better. And there's the upper lined up pretty good now. And the lower, we have plenty of room for it. You see we close this space back up here and move this around like that, and it's lined up real good. Class 1 now, and this is straight. And we've opened this. This is still a little bit right there, not a big problem. All right, now the temporomandibular joint wasn't there when we started. When we started orthodontics, it came about, but we realized what was causing it, and we stopped expansion of the lower anterior. It's still not all the way, by the way, and the TMJ problem just went away. Now we'll put a retainer in with a bite plate, but now it's open good. And this is an example of orthodontics can cause TMJ problems if you do the orthodontics in the wrong way. Anything that puts force on this mandible makes it go backwards like that gives you a possibility of having temporomandibular joint problems. Now there's some people with such tough joints that you can't hardly hurt them, and then you'll get a lot of people with joints so tender you just look at them cross-eyed or something, just anything will make their joint hurt, and those are the ones you seem to end up with a lot of times. Okay, well, now we put a retainer in the mouth. You see, we've made that bite plate on there. We've got the video showing you how to do that, how to make the retainer, how to fix the thing up. And if you'll wear this retainer, bird, the bite will not deepen, and that joint problem won't come back like that. But you've got to wear it. And you wear it, we don't just slap them on the backside and give them a retainer and tell them to come back in 6 weeks. But we watch them, every one of them, for a year with no additional charge to them. Just come in and we'll see them every month or so for a year. And if it's any problem, we'll want to see them for years after that. We'll show them how to take care of it. But you've got to retain these things, and you've got to know what you're talking about when you tell them what they've got to do in there. Now, here this is fairly straight down here on the bottom. It looks like it's lined up pretty good, so we'll take it out of that. We've got a little midline problem, and if you look real careful, can you see there's some little bit of composite on these front teeth? That means that this arch wire coming around on the labial side, we do not cross over with anything, but that will keep that arch wire in that position for some time after and hold these teeth lined up like that. And then these bottom teeth are biting in a little track, and if they really wart, you might not need a 3-3. We tried to go without them long time, but we just finally ended up putting them on just virtually everybody. So here's the case. Later on, this is 85. It didn't take us long to do this. Now, when you've got the retainer and you don't notice this, but when you take it out, now you can have this very thin, actually, your tooth will be coming down like such here, and you have your arch wire right here, and you put just a little thin triangle of that, and that would keep the arch wire up. And if you don't want the arch wire to go up, then of course you'd put just a little bit of that like we did here on these teeth up above it. And the tooth may be tapered, and the labial wire of your retainer would want to slide up, and you hold it down here to keep this back in line like that. Now, there it is underneath there. And there's the bottom. We didn't use a 3-3 retainer. We tried to get by without one, but actually I would not advise. Now, if they stay with the upper retainer and these teeth are fitting in that little groove, theoretically it'll stay straight. But they will leave it out some of the time, and the thing is going to slip by, and you'll get one of them slipping a little bit and they'll go. So I would recommend going ahead and putting your 3-3. In fact, we made them out of flexible wire, just bonded them to each tooth in there. The only thing, you have to run your dental floss under this so you get that needle floss to go in to keep them cleaned out there. Okay, there it is. You can see this. We're holding that labial wire of the retainer right in that little line right there. That won't let them move at all. Alright, there's the wire in there. And these are just some brackets. These are little plastic brackets that have a steel insert that we used a good many of. But that finishes that case, and I hope you'll look at this and see if you take these same teeth and put them up here somewhere instead of having them there, they were biting up in here, and you crowd them up, and then you go in there and start to straighten them out while the bite is closed. It'll push out on these upper teeth, and it'll push in on the lower teeth, and you'll get people with tender joints, and they'll come down with TMJ problems when you start the orthodontics. So that's something to remember in there. And when somebody tells you that orthodontics has nothing to do with TMJ, they're absolutely wrong. It does. So I'm going to hush up right there on that deal, and let's just stop this thing. Thank you for watching it, and I hope you learned something. I'm going to have about 3 more of these, just some different examples of orthodontics causing TMJ problems. So thank you now.